You are still watching the conversation coming to you from TV 360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. My name is still Nelson Ekuduma. I still have with me in the studio Peter Clever Okpara, a public affairs analyst. On this, we want to look at the Uromi 16. The public space has been, shocked, pained, angered, and we're all in a mournful mood over the senseless and barbaric, gruesome killing of 16 Nigerians in Uromi by a so-called vigilante, which the state government has now declared was an illegal vigilante group. And for me, the barbarism that was exhibited by the people of in Uromi is one that must be condemned by anybody anywhere. There is no rationale, there is no justification for extrajudicial killing. And we say it boldly here on the conversation that we condemn the gruesome murder. We are not going to play the ethnic card. We don't want to know where they come from. First and foremost, those persons who were killed and burnt are human beings. And under the law in any society, it is the courts that have the authority to take somebody's life. For people to resort to self-help is totally condemnable. And what this has brought out is, for me, is that it has shown, one, that our policing system is still lacking. Because that killing, from the time those men were apprehended, to the time they were interrogated, to the time they were beaten, until they dropped dead and what have you, would have taken not less than an hour, I want to assume. So you expect fillers to have gotten to our security agencies to have reacted promptly. Also, what that terrible incident has shown to us is that we don't have elders again in our society. Because ordinary, when we were growing up, we lived in a society where elders, once they say, hey, everybody stands at ease. But in this present time, we live in a society where elders are not concerned about what happens. They have left the younger generation to their fate, and that is why we are in this crisis. And again, I cannot exonerate the Nigerian media, of which we are also part of, from what happened. You remember vividly well that under former President Muhammadu Buhari, even if a man fights with his wife in your neighborhood, if it gets to the media space, before you know, they'll say, Fulani headsmen. And I've told anybody who cares to listen, I say, call a crime by its name. A criminal is a criminal. Stop profiling them along ethnic and religious lines. This is the seed we have sowed, because ordinarily, if not for the eight mindsets that we have, you have apprehended some men. You say you found them with guns, even if they were carrying AK-47. But from the pictures we have, the images we have, we saw them with Dane guns. The most honorable thing to do was for you to have notified the security agencies. We have caught some people with some harm. Say it is not for the security agencies to. So when people come out and tell me it's because of the lack of trust in our security or judicial system, I disagree. There are other factors that far outweighs. I agree that people can have their reservations about our judicial system as well as our security apparatus. But even if you have that reservation, that yet does not give you the right to take another man's life. That is my take.
Yeah, actually, we sympathize and condole with the victims of that barbaric act that happened in Uromi. It's a very regrettable barbaric act. We sympathize with their families. and dependents, one way or the other. And having said that, you see, like we have pointed it over and over again, we have talked about the ineptitude of our security or judicial system and whatever. And we have really talked about the main issue that brought about Uromi, and which we may certainly bring about another similar case, is the last factor you mentioned, ethnic profiling. These things you are seeing was as a result of the ethnic profiling that took place between 2015 and 2023 in this country. Every northerner, I'm saying every northerner, was now seen as a Fulani herdsman. We are fed with the belief that in our backyards and the Fulani herdsmen are roaming. In the height of that, this, I have to ask some people some time ago, have you seen a Fulani man before? And you will be shocked that most of the people that were saying it have not seen any Fulani man before. Any local crime was now tagged as Fulani herdsmen. They were all political soundbites.
Peter, do you remember the...
Deliberately created. Yeah. Why were they created? Because Buhari became president. Yes. The shock of the defeat Buhari inflicted on their choice candidate was the thing that bettered that ethnic profiling. Like you said, newspapers, televisions and magazines, radios that we are supposed to know better. Media. So we are totally committed to this project, this deadly project.
Yes.
Now every northern, any attack that happens anywhere are Fulani herdsmen. You will say that you fight with their brother and a Fulani herdsmen, and they brought that, and people now came to start believing in it. And now it is about their Fulani herdsmen are everywhere. And when you catch these criminals,
you realize that they are your people. That they are nowhere near Fulani.
And
they will still continue to regurgitate that lie.
There was a time, was it last year or thereabout, when the train was attacked in that region, you know.
Yes.
The first story we had was the Fulani herdsmen. Even the police commissioner was the Fulani herdsmen. Strong. Lo and behold, when the criminals were arrested, they were local people. They were all local people.
No, Peter. Yes. Let me also remind you the attack on the is it a Catholic church in Owo?
Yeah, the one in Owo. The one in Owo. Yes, I passed through Owo that day. So why would I remember?
So you remember, even the state governor, the late governor, they said it was Fulani.
So we have
only for them to be apprehended.
You see,
and realize
this negative stereotype have been sold, and it is very difficult to abandon them, to face the reality. That's what Nigerians are seeing. So, because you now saw some people moving, they may be northerners, they may be Hausas, they may even be Fulanis.
They may not even they may even be from Benue,
yes,
or even from Plateau.
Or from Mali.
Yes.
Or from Niger. Yes, but when you now see them, they are Fulani herdsmen that have come to take you in a Dangote truck. You see, these are things that hate can do. And it is the dangers of what we have at our hand. Where you now profile a people because you feel bad that one of them was the same. Buhari has rounded up his.
You know that
you
was
still about Fulani herdsmen attacking you.
Peter,
to do what?
You know that was my anger.
Yeah.
Against the so-called socio-cultural organizations.
Oh yeah.
I told anybody who cared to.
But you knew that the socio-cultural organizations
were all political vehicles,
and they were fully immersed in that.
Yes, because it didn't align with their political interests.
And that is why.
And when people think, when some of these groups speaks, you think they are speaking in your own interest. Absolutely, except you are fooling yourself.
They are not.
They are speaking for their pockets.
You see, some of these things.
They are never fighting for
some
you.
Of these things
that is why those groups with their leaders will not be. That is why I said we don't have elders. You remember the former secretary to the federal government who collected 100 million naira under Olufalai, under President Goodluck Jonathan for his party and declared just 10 million. What type of elders are those?
Yeah, so you see, the whole thing is that they know what they are doing. Both the media, the elders, the youths, and they know what they are doing. You know, they want to sustain the culture of hate. And I have said it, I don't listen, the ethnic profiling, negative ethnic profiling, the North was subjected to between 2015 and 2023 is the cause of what we had in Uromi. And if care is not taken, it will still happen again. But another thing I want to point out to the security agencies or whoever or whatever is that in a situation like that, where people are traveling with guns, well, they must have a way of clearly registering those guns with security agents. Security agents can even transport the guns ahead of them.
No, you know, those
it
are,
creates a very wrong signal when you travel with guns
Peter,
on a trip
you and I,
across states.
Peter, you and I know, even in our local environment here, you go to some communities, you see their security men
outfits, yeah,
carrying all these local guns.
yeah, or pump action.
Yes. So I think what we should be looking at is the failure of policing, which has played out. Because ordinarily, from the time those guys were stopped, questioning, you know, they started.
The police would have been alerted.
Should have been alerted.
But like you have said, there is no faith in the security agencies
because
again.
no, is that they are not doing the intelligence arm is dead.
Yeah, and
because ordinarily somebody's at least one of the people who were there should have been a police informant to say, something is happening here.
Like you have said, even if it was AK-47, even if it was
yes,
the best thing is report to
security agents. We must not fail to commend the governor of Edo State, Governor Monday Okpebolo, for the act of responsible leadership he has displayed in this matter. In quelling, you know, the tension.
Yesterday he was in Kano.
Yes, he was
met
in
the
Kano
families. Yes,
meet
and
the families,
these are things we need. Yes,
these are the type of leaders we need.
And going forward, everybody should be involved in writing this profiling issue, because if not that, more will come. The media, in particular, the media has been very responsible in this regard.
Absolutely.
You know,
you cannot say it. You cannot say it better. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we want to call it a wrap on the conversation today. Our heartfelt condolences to the families of the murdered victims in Uromi, and we just call on the authorities. We commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for declaring a manhunt, and thank God 14 of the killers, alleged killers, have been arrested, and the governor of Edo State has promised that they will be prosecuted, there will be justice for the victims. And we're also demanding that compensation must be paid to the families of the victims. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we want to call it a wrap on the conversation today. I've had a beautiful conversation with Peter Clever Okpara. Till we come your way again next time, please continue to watch the conversation coming to you from TV 360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. Have a great day. Bye-bye.